Hello, my name is Valerie Bugvalt, and I'm the marketing intern here at Oslo Repertory Theater, and I am here with Gordon Greenberg. He is the director of Yentl, which opens tonight. We're going to ask him a couple questions. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Can you talk a little bit about the contemporary feel that you've mentioned the show has?
Sure. We sort of looked at the play, which was written about 30 years ago and based on a story from over a century ago, and wanted to make it resonate with contemporary audiences. And we thought, what's the best way to do that? Through music. And so we approached Asolo, sort of great pop songwriter who had a huge hit on MTV in the 90s called I Kissed a Girl, and I kind of enjoyed the irony of that. But I also enjoyed her intelligence, her sense of humor, and her sense of adventure. And so we took the music and fused both the traditional feel of klezmer music and the actual music you would have heard in Poland and Eastern Europe in the 19th century with very contemporary kind of pop rock music. And what we've got is a whole new form and music that really reflects what's going on in the characters' minds, and the kind of juxtaposition between the original play and this sort of cheeky, contemporary, very exciting music is really cool. It's really neat, and it makes people see the show in a whole fresh way.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad you brought up her music. Now, with Jill Sobule, her music specifically, how would you say that it relates to the text or informs the text?
Most of the time, the band, we have a band that's on stage that plays with the actors, sort of connects to the audience and connects to the action, and most of the time they're singing the internal thoughts of the characters. Mm-hmm. Usually it's Yentl herself, himself, whichever way you want to look at it,
right.
But it's usually the thoughts of our protagonist, and so they function almost like a Greek chorus, and it's sort of like a soundtrack would function in a film.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what was it initially that drew you to this piece?
I read an article in the New York Times, I think it was about a year ago, and I sent it immediately to Michael Edwards, the artistic director here, and it was about women in Afghanistan being precluded from participating in education systems there. Mm-hmm. And I thought, it's amazing that this story still resonates, and it's sort of a story that has translated to other cultures. It's Mulan, it's lots of other stories where women are denied basic rights, and we're living at a time when civil rights are very much a thing that we're thinking about, to all people based on religion, sexual preference, race, gender. There are all kinds of ways that people seek to make themselves superior or differentiated, and this was a great story that I thought really took the audience on a thrilling, epic adventure, and would actually provide a really theatrical evening.
Absolutely. Did you make any specific discoveries during rehearsals? Anything that surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, this whole rehearsal process has been a big workshop for this version of the show, and how we use music has changed, evolved, and grown through the process. At the beginning, we kind of thought, we'll just shove the songs in between scenes and it'll be full songs. And then you start to realize where it slows the play down and where it enhances the play, and where you can put a song in between two lines, and where you can intersperse lines, and where you can have action going on at the same time. So a lot of that has made the show grow for us, and made it become clear in a lot of wonderful ways.
Okay. Now, a lot of people, when they think of Yentl, they think of Barbra Streisand. What would you say to those people that are like, I don't know if I'm going to see that. I don't know if I'm into the whole Yentl, Barbra Streisand thing.
Wow. Well, first of all, the Barbra Streisand film is fantastic. I saw it when I was a kid. This version is completely different, though. That was one interpretation of the source material, which is the play. We've gone back to the original play and done a whole new interpretation, starting with the way the characters are dressed. They're not dressed in full Hasidic religious garb. They're dressed in our version, our poetic take on sort of the shtetl Eastern European 19th century / Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And that's why it sort of feels true to the period, but at the same time, it's sexy and it's raw, and it feels almost pan-religious, so that it's specific to Jewishness, but it clearly relates to all religions, where fundamentalism can be a challenge. In addition, the music has a completely different feel. It definitely goes against the grain of the material in a lot of ways that makes it surprising and kind of a nice break from some of the sentiment, or a way to kind of highlight the humor, or highlight the pathos of any given moment. It's a sort of a sexier, more contemporary, and a lot younger take on the material.
Wonderful. Well, that is so wonderful and so inspiring, and thank you so much for taking the time. Yentl opens tonight, so come see it.
Come see it.